Huge savings going on here at Viral Hip Hop News. If you've ever wanted to promote your brand with the platform, there's never been a better time to do so. Email me, dlsmediainc1@gmail.com for details. And if you're a subscriber, go to my channel memberships available on my homepage, Sam I Am Viral Podcast, exclusive content available to all my channel members. Click the link, find out how you can join now. Let's go.
Welcome to another episode of the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast. I'm your brother, old guy from Hip Hop News Uncensored, and sitting across from me is my co-host.
What up, y'all? It's your man Sam Ant, CEO of Viral Hip Hop News. You're in the building for a special edition of the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast. We got back in the building. I don't know what time this is now. I want to say 4 or 5, but it's always good to have family on the podcast. We got Andrew Wyatt back on. How you feeling, family? Good to see you.
Man, fam, it's so great to see you and old man. Y'all are wonderful people, man. Thanks for always informing just the community as a whole, but the world, man, because you guys be hitting record numbers of going viral, man. So I just appreciate the opportunity, and you guys think that much of me because I definitely think that much of you and your audience.
It means a lot. Yes. I don't know if you realize that, but that means a whole lot coming from you, brother. We definitely appreciate you, and we'll stay on the job. So it was funny because obviously, we heard the news about Jayz a couple of days ago. We start dropping videos, and it was funny because in my comment section, I keep hearing people say, "Oh, bring Andrew Wyatt on. Bring Andrew Wyatt on. I want to hear what Andrew Wyatt had to say. Bring Andrew Wyatt on." I'm like, we're gonna get to him in time. We're gonna let things simmer up.
Yeah. You gotta let it stew for a minute.
Get him on.
You can't get a good gumbo unless you let it
stew. Now we here for the people. The people asked. We delivered for the people. We got you on. So just let's get right out the gate. When you seen the news a couple of days ago of the alleged situation between Jayz and a young child, I don't even want to. I think it was 13. They put on her
13 years old at an award show on her way to award show with Diddy and Jayz, and she claims that he sexually assaulted her on the way to the show. When I heard it, it doesn't surprise me. This is the what we're seeing in the year 2024, and it started sooner than that. But this is to destroy the democracy of hip hop, to destroy the democracy of Black entertainment. The constitution of what hip hop and Black entertainment, our Black icons represented and stood for, we as a people never saw them as people who had no faults or no flaws. We all knew they had their idiosyncrasies, and every man has their fallacies. So that wasn't anything new to us, but they gave us something to aspire to, something that motivated us to say, hey, if they can do this, and they came from the same area that we came from, no matter what region of the world, the projects are the projects, the ghetto is the ghetto, poverty is poverty. The worst thing you could do for a poor person is end up like them, because if you end up like them, you can't help them. So they showed us something that we were able to hold on to. So, what we're seeing today, it doesn't surprise me. And I always hate to go back to, but it started with Mr. Cosby. He was the litmus test, tried, true, and tested. And the moment you are able to get allegations to come forward to criminal prosecution and civil proceedings against the individual from 40 years ago with no evidence of proof, but the sheer allegations of somebody saying something happened, and you don't have proof. So when you do get proof and you have a video of Cassie out there with Sean Combs, now it doesn't take much. We saw YSL. We saw how the government is using a RICO crime that was created in 1970 by Congress for mob families. Now they're using those RICO charges to come after people for lyrics. Jayz, when I saw this thing surface, it did not shock me because, anybody that's a figure in our community that has the power to influence, all races, all genders, all religions, all ethnic groups, when you really think about it, that person is dangerous, to the world around them. The difference with Jayz and Sean Combs, when the allegations hit against him, he tried to rush and change his life. It was too late, because everybody knew you of the party guy. You never saw Jayz in the club. The only club you saw him at was the 40/40, but he was with adults. However, Jayz protection And Hollywood has always shown us whenever a relationship and you hear of a celebrity breaking up, they get involved immediately. And because they have to, because that's their cover. His cover is Beyonce. And when the allegations came out against him, it did not surprise me because he was so close to Sean Combs. And the best way to tear down the dynasty is you start with the head of the snake and you work your way down. And right now, they're working their way down. I love the way Jay-Z went against the grain. He did what I tried to get Mr. Cosby to do at the onset of the allegations. Mr. Cosby's attorneys, which they knew what they were doing, told him, if you say something, it's going to create more trouble for you. And I remember saying to him, if you don't say anything, you're going to look guilty. And what Jay-Z said to his attorneys, no, you guys keep pushing papers. I'm going to push some lyrics. And he basically pushed lyrics out to say, okay, if you really want me, criminal prosecute me, basically. Criminal prosecute me, forget trying to come out my pockets. And it was something that was said on a podcast that really bothered me on Ebro, Lauren Stiles, and Peter Rosenberg podcast. And just to get their words right, I want to quote it. I'm going to read it. They said, these allegations today looks like a clown show that sexual assault has become. And it seems that sexual assault is a game. It's kind of a use of a piece of trying to bring someone down and trying to get some money. Well, that's what we were saying the same thing about Mr. Cosby. What was that sentiment there? No matter how you feel about Jay-Z, no matter how you feel about Sean Combs, Diddy, R. Kelly, it's all revolved around one thing, money. And when you really look at the overall concept and picture, this attorney, Tom Busby out of Houston, Texas, don't get me wrong, he's no joke. He's not going to come for you if he don't have something. So he has something because he's not going to. This is a man who basically had to move out his house because of a storm or some type of natural disaster. And when he moved out his house, he lived on the streets just to send a message of awareness to people what it's like to be homeless. So you're not dealing with just some guy who's, I'm not saying he's not looking for a payday, but any billionaire that allegations come about, everybody's looking for the payday. No, this is a guy who has created a hotline against Diddy and has gotten over 100 people that he's representing against Diddy. So this hotline is the same thing that the Merson law firm did with Mr. Cosby. They put a billboard up in a hotline. If Bill Cosby raped a drug, you please come forward. These guys have the formula, and this law firm is out of New York. These guys now have a solid formula that they got from Bill Cosby. Look, they did away with the statute of limitations in Nevada because of Bill Cosby. They called it the Bill Cosby law. They did away with it in California, in New York, in New Jersey. So now, which I find to be unconstitutional. There's nothing wrong with settling. Donald Trump settled with Stormy Daniels. Bill Cosby settled in 2005 with Andre Constant. Diddy settled because he was about to lose everything. Jay-Z basically saying, no, come for me.
Yeah.
And I love that strategy because what he didn't do is what we tried to get Mr. Cosby to do. And his attorney said, I said, Mr. Cosby, if you don't say something, they're going to still come for you. They're going to still file civil suits against you. Jay-Z said, no, I'm going to call you out. I'm not afraid. But Jay-Z has Mount Rushmore around him right now, protecting him. And Mount Rushmore is the moment that the allegations hit. What did he do? Him and Beyonce and Blue Ivy, they went to the movie premiere of the new movie. They were shown as a family unit. Not only did they do that, it's other Mount Rushmore. It's the commissioner of the NFL.
Yeah.
Roger Goodell, who came out and said, look, we know about the allegations, but we're standing behind him and putting on our Super Bowl. See, he has a Mount Rushmore of sophisticated influencers who control all dynamics of the industry, whether it's political, whether it's entertainment, whether it's entrepreneurship. He has himself covered and surrounded. When he did the song God Did with DJ Khaled, he talked about how he turned champagne into cocaine, cocaine into champagne. And who came to his defense? Obama. Obama said everybody has the ability to change and make better of themselves. So he has, most people have an army. Jay-Z has a battalion. And that's a big difference.
Right. Is it safe to say that you think Jay-Z seen this coming? And I've seen, you know, I listened to a lot of his lyrics over the years, and he talked about, you know, this eventually being the eventuality for him, like just like they came for. He referenced Michael Jackson, Prince, Cosby, and certain different people in his songs. You think he's seen this coming?
Well, he knew it was coming. When they saw it come, when they saw it come with Bill Cosby, they saw it all coming for themselves. They just, what they did, they thought they had a little bit more covering, because Bill Cosby, the people that grew up with Bill Cosby aged out of the social media arena. They wasn't a part of that experience. Jay-Z fans are still young. Beyonce fans, the Beehive is still young. Okay, the Swifties are still young out here. So his fans get to grow with him in real time. When they saw Russell Simmons having to unload everything and give up his citizenship and move to Bali, that sent shockwaves. When R. Kelly went down, Jay-Z and R. Kelly did the Best of Both Worlds tour. And Robert, you know, you think he's not considering talking to? Everybody wants to eliminate some times off the books.
Wow.
Everybody, there's no such thing, you know. It used to be don't snitch. Now it's all about you better start snitching. Because see, people could talk about doing the time. People could talk about what's happening in the streets. But young cats today don't know how to do that time.
Yeah.
There are no real, so what they call quote unquote G's out here. The real G's, they're doing the time right now. But these young guys can't do that type of time. Jay-Z saw the writing on the wall, but see, he was warned. They didn't come and raid his house. They raided Sean Combs' house. Sean Combs is the big get. Because here's the problem with Sean Combs. He can't do the time. And one thing about it, he's not going to do somebody else's time. But Jay-Z went on his own PR campaign before it fueled into something. You know, there's an old saying that there's no conflict without interest. And sometimes people want a little conflict to gain interest. That's how the richer gets rich. They don't mind conflict. However, Jay-Z took the conflict and rolled it into say, hey, okay, I'm going to try this thing in the court of public opinion right now. I'm going to try it and I'm going to drop some bars. And who's going to get it? Every young person across the world.
You talked about Tony Busby and how he's relentless. He's one of the top lawyers when it comes to this type of stuff. You said that he's not in it unless he has something. What do you think that, to the best of your experience, what could that something?
Well, look, when these attorneys, high-profile attorneys, interject themselves into cases like these, they're not going to jeopardize themselves being reprimanded by the bar by no means whatsoever. You know, there's videotapes out here. There's evidence that has been seized. Because he now has clients, you know, waging a civil war and possibly some criminal charges against Sean Combs. He now has the rights to the evidence. So he now has the ability to file motions to say that I need you to turn over, you know, what you have in your possession, because, you know, I need to put a proper defense up for my clients. So he's not in this. All of them are in this because of the payday. But also these lawyers also are into this because they know what's out there. They know what's on those tapes. They know if I can't get this person, I have the ability to get someone close to them. When you really think about it, America better wake up quickly, because I think I was on this show and I said when the charges came against Diddy and they put him into custody and they revoked his bail, I said, you're going to see more people come forward, but they're not going to be treated the same way he's being treated. And look what happened. Months later, they get the former CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch. They just get, now he was actually trafficking. He gets to leave court that day with an ankle bracelet and he just put up $10 million. See, the system is designed to say, it's not for us. When we start figuring out the laws, they have the system and the mechanism to change it to benefit them. And when you look at what Jay-Z is experiencing now, he's trying to say, let me show people fighting back in the art form that I know how to fight back. I'm going to put it on wax. He didn't go out here and do what Sean Combs and showing himself whitewater rafting, having fun. No, when charges like these come about, people want to see you taking it seriously, especially the other side of the black hand. When they see you, with that other structure of the world, see you still living a life and having fun and enjoying family. Oh, no, he ain't taking this serious. Let's go on and put him in the cuffs and let's go on and put him in the custody and no bail. Jay-Z showed you that he was taking it serious. He was like, hey, show your face. He, without saying the Sixth Amendment, he went to his Sixth Amendment rights. He's like, I have the right. The Sixth Amendment gives me the right to know and face my accuser. So he basically, he dropped a lot of knowledge, but he stayed within the confines of not persecuting himself or not defaming anyone. But don't think Tom Busby ain't looking at that album and know what he dropped. He's going through it, dissecting it, because he's going to find a way to say, okay, you defamed my client. If you remember, Gloria Allred daughter is Lisa Bloom. She was representing a lady against Kevin Hart. And when Kevin Hart was accused of having this extramarital affair with this woman, and he denied her and said it never happened, he ended up selling out of court for a couple of $1 million because he defamed that young lady. Because now he defamed her reputation and making her out to be a liar.
Wow, man.
And because of that, he owed money. Because of that, it cost him pretty much.
He defamed her. So, they tell you in your memoranda rights, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say that can be used against you. So you cannot legally use a word like extortion. You could say, I'm not going to be your bankroll, but when you say a person is extorting me, you're defaming that person to call that person extortionist. Now you have to prove it.
Deep.
See, words are so important, but words have the ability to come at you in a way that other side of the world know the system. We think that we're dropping knowledge half of the time, but we have to be careful with our words, even in just regular conversation, even when we're trying to defend ourselves against someone. We have to be very cautious and careful of our words. So Busby is not some idiot lawyer who's sitting around, because what he is going to do is join forces with other lawyers who have deep pockets to form class action civil suits against so many of these quote unquote entertainers who were at the Diddy freak-offs and at his parties. Because what I get to say now is that you was an accomplice in knowing something was happening at this party and you said nothing. So who wants even a slight charge, a small fraction of a charge waged against them when it comes to sex trafficking and sexual assault? Nobody wants that. So people start talking. And people cut deals, under the table deals, and say, redact my name from this and don't bring me into this. And I'll settle with you with this amount or that amount. At the end of the day, it's like every dime adds up and every penny adds up to $1.
Mm-hmm.
So if I get $1 million out of this person, I get $2 million out of this person, you know, I'm getting 40% of that regardless, plus all my expenses I put into this. These guys don't dump this kind of money and take this type of public scrutiny that they take these lawyers unless they have something. Mm-hmm. And don't think that they're not talking to the prosecution. Don't think that they're not friendly with the prosecution. Because the prosecution, at the end of the day, they don't want to walk away looking like they have egg on their face. They need to win.
Yeah. Right.
So what you do, you acclimate Robert Kelly, you acclimate Sean Combs, you acclimate them into these conditions of not giving them bail because you said, well, you're going to do some time anyway, so I want you to just acclimate yourself so you could get comfortable in this setting. But you never get comfortable because you start thinking about your favorite foods. You start thinking about, man, I have no privacy. Everything is out in the open. The guards get to watch me take a shower. Female and male get to walk me to the shower. You have no rights. Your rights have been taken away from you. So in order to get some of those rights back, you start giving the government information and you start handing over people.
Right. Now, every day now we've seen since Diddy's been locked up, a new accuser comes out. My question will be, do you see this case, you know, one, more accusers coming out, and two, do you see it turning criminal?
It's already in the criminal process. It's already in the criminal process. If you go back and look at Mr. Cosby case, there were no civil suits waged while the criminal proceeding was going on. The criminal, it's like the Daniel Penny case where the guy chokehold the guy in the subway. The judge dismissed that case, but now they have the proper avenue now, and that has given them light to go after him civilly. It's the same thing with Sean Combs. The criminal case is a situation where fuels the civil cases. So right now, in order to, where people are trying to say, hey, if you don't want us to work for the government and you don't want us to become a witness for the government, you need to settle this matter. And the problem with Sean Combs versus Mr. Cosby, we had AIG Insurance. AIG Insurance supplemented our criminal trials. They paid for our criminal attorneys. They paid everybody. They paid for our researchers because it was to their benefit for us to win the criminal trial, because if we won the criminal trial, they wouldn't have to pay the money out on the civil side. So what Sean Combs doesn't have, he doesn't have an insurance carrier right now. He's just operating on assets and liquid. And most of these people that you see today in this realm of quote unquote billionaires, most of the people are more asset rich and cash poor.
Yeah.
So right now, people are looking at all of his assets and they're looking at, okay, well, he could sell something and settle this matter out. And what they'll do is a garden, what they're probably coming to him now and saying, let's do a garden variety settlement. But right now, that one settlement that he was forced into with Cassie, it became the inferno where he should have just stood his ground and said, you know what Jay-Z is doing, let's fight.
Interesting.
Is there a situation or circumstance where you could see prosecutors going into R. Kelly's cell, going into Diddy's cell and saying, if you give me information on Jay-Z, you may get your sentence reduced. Do you see a situation where you see these two
Well,
music
it's
icons
happening. It's
perform?
happening as we speak.
Mm.
Because they're in federal custody. They're not in
Yeah.
state custody.
Right.
So when you're under the federal investigation, that goes across state lines. That gets to go overseas. That goes looking into your trafficking, your offshores account. This is not a state situation. This is federal custody. R. Kelly's attorney, who I was helping him off the books and helped him retain his attorney, he just lost his appeal with the United States Supreme Court. So he has exhausted all of his efforts right now. He
Wow.
has to do the time. The only way he can get outside of doing the time right now, there are only two ways. He gets a pardon from the President of the United States, or he gets talked and a deal is struck. And they work out a deal where they say, well, hey, if you give me what you have on all the artists you work with, and we need proof of it and give us names and information, we might be able to knock 15 years off your sentence. Because remember, in doing federal time versus state time, there's no such thing as going up for parole. In federal time, you have to do 85% of the time, and then they let you out. Look at Big Meech; he did 85% of the time. That's why he's out.
Mm.
Right. What do you see happening next here?
Well, I think the saga's going to continue.
Yeah.
See, the formula, and I always say, I'm the Most High blessed me with this formula to have the blueprint,
right,
of what it's like to stand in the gap for Black America. And standing in the gap means that I never forget the conversation. Mr. Cosby and Mrs. Cosby, they were frantic in 2014 because the allegations came out in October. And at the time, the situation was going on in Ferguson with Michael Brown. And this journalist come on Reliable Solutions and says, do not let Ferguson or the holidays take Bill Cosby out of the news. So there are no presents coming to you for the month of Christmas. There's no celebrating a big new year, because that's when you're going to see, because these attorneys in the system want to leave you very uncomfortable. They want you to be uncomfortable. There's no way that Jay-Z, he dropped some beautiful bars and he spoke his piece, but don't think he's not sitting around worried about this matter. You can't get comfortable. These guys, unlike regular people in the world, they have attorneys, sitting on retainers who they have yet to bill against those retainers. And those attorneys know one day something is going to happen. So I'm going to be able to go to this war chest in my IOTA account, and I'm going to be able to draw money from it by doing work. He has lawyers, like he said, I got the money team. He has the money team. They're working 24/7. They're going to be working through the holidays, the same way our lawyers were working. No one caught a break. Everybody worked through the holidays. Thanksgiving. You didn't celebrate nothing. Everybody worked 7 days a week because you're constantly billing, because they said, I need this to get thrown out. I need this to go away. And Jay-Z is trying to hope and pray for the courts, throwing this out. But the problem now with this system that we're in, the courts are saying, no, the burden of proof is on the plaintiff, the person who's bringing these accusations. So we're going to let this civil proceeding move forward, or we'll let this criminal proceeding move forward. Because now they're saying, the sexual assault and Me Too thing has caused the judicial system to not act within the realm of the law. Everybody is figuring out, well, I need to give these women their day in court. And you have to understand the reason why that's happening, because most people on the bench are either elected or selected to the bench. Now you have a greater chance when someone is selected to the bench because they don't have to rely on votes. But when you're out here relying on getting elected for another term to be a judge or a prosecutor, you got to show yourself being tough on crime and show that you're for women. And that's the new slogan, that we have to show that we're for women because women don't lie, but we know that's a lie.
Right. Now I was listening. They said that apparently a celebrity, they didn't name the name. They say celebrity B witnessed this alleged assault on this 13-year-old. I don't know if you heard that aspect of it. Are they holding some cards for Jay-Z, this lawyer, to really smash him real soon?
Well, they're holding all the cards. They're going to let him push every envelope that he wants to push, and they're going to come back and say, okay, you want to show us your arrogance, and you want to call us out, that you don't feel like you're taking this matter serious. And basically, in so many words, what Tom Busby said, he said the gloves are off. He said, in so many words, this is what you want, and you're gonna go to the courts and say, I'm trying to extort you. Gloves are off now. I tried to be civil with you. No more being civil. I'm coming for you because now you came for my career and you came for my livelihood. So I'm coming after you. So I'm gonna drop every nuclear bomb I got in my arsenal to get you. You're my number one target right now. And I guarantee you, he got a dartboard somewhere in his house throwing darts at Jay-Z's picture, trying to hit the bullseye.
Damn.
Let me ask you this. Let me get your thoughts on this, because we've seen it before. They try to present you guilty in the court. They try to make you guilty in the court of public opinion. And it seems like, unfortunately, those who spearhead those guilty pleas in the court of public opinion are us. And I mean black people. Unfortunately, seems like when it comes to R. Kelly, when it comes to Diddy, and now Jay-Z, it seems like when you look at the pulse of the people, it's black people are the ones that, yeah, we knew he was guilty 12 years ago. We knew he was this. We knew he was evil. We knew we can't wait. Or you guys just, why do you think that is?
Well, I think we're angry with ourselves. And look, you could crack a person's head open and put all types of knowledge in there. The one thing you can't put in there is ambition. And there's a lot of black people out here who didn't possibly get what they wanted to get. And it's something about us that enjoy the takedown. And we have to always realize it's not what they're doing to us, it's what we're not doing for ourselves. They're not doing it to us, we're doing it to us. And we sit back and we allow a system because it shows that we don't have the influence and power that we think we have. No matter how wealthy we get, we still are members of an exclusive slave plantation. We're members. The majority of black people are members of this exclusive slave plantation. The slave plantation that lets you be a member of the country club. The slave plantation that lets you get a little liquid to say that you can move into the suburban neighborhood. But you're still on the plantation, even when you move in the suburban neighborhood, whether you pay cash for the home or not. You're on the plantation. You're never your own human being. When master wants to make an example to you, he pulls you out in front of all the slaves and tie you to a post, and he lets your own whip you. Your own. He don't do it. He get a whip to your wife. He get the whip to your child. So when the overseer has the person living next door to you and the person you're feeding every day tie you to the post and they whip you and discipline you, you have no more respect or power. And it shows that the influence that you portray yourself to have, and you're bigger, and you're a billionaire, and you have this status. Nah, you really ain't that person. You still own, you just own a country club plantation. You're just a slave with a few exclusive rights, but you don't have all of the rights. See, we have to be careful when we say civil rights, because civil rights ain't meant to be civilly to us. We have to say what the LGBTQ community has always said. I don't want civil rights. I want equal rights. I want to be your equal. When Black people start saying to their oppressors, I want to be your equal. When Michael Jackson said, no, I want to be your equal. When Bill Cosby said, I want to be your equal. When R. Kelly said, I want to be your equal. I made a song, I Could Believe I Could Fly, and it became an anthem at every wedding, at every game. I want to be your equal. No, you don't get to be our equal. You need to be begging us to treat you civilly. Keep fighting for civil rights. And we made the biggest mistake as a race. Our biggest mistake we could ever make as gatekeepers in our own communities, amongst our own families. We made the mistake of letting social media take form. That was the worst thing we could have ever done, because social media was created to take Black people away from current events of the day. It took you away from the realities of people in your community who made a name for themselves and was trying to give back and had the opportunity to give back to your community. It took us away from people, everyday people. It made the Sean Combs, it made the Jay-Z's and the Bill Cosby's of the world move out of the community that you once knew, that you were a part of. Imagine if they all came together and everybody put their money into this pot and they say, you know what, we're going to rebuild Marcy Projects. Because we now have the influence, we have the government connections to say to the federal government, sell us these projects, we're going to redo it. No, you wanted to join forces with Malibu, Pacific Palisades, the Hamptons, the Upper East Side. You know, you wanted to be a part of that selective slave, plantation, but it's all selective because it's only a select group of people that get to be a part of it. And it's not me playing a race card because, I can't play the race card. They created the race card when they put us on that ship and brought us over here. They created their race card. It's not me playing the race card. They created the race card when they drafted the Constitution minus the amendments. It's just me playing the truth. And that's with our own people, man, until we as a people, and I don't see it happening, because it's okay to be jealous of someone, because if you're jealous of that team that beat you in the championship, that's going to make you get in the gym and work harder. Envy is just a dangerous drug. And it's the worst drug that a person can take. If we dilute the drug called envy and we start realizing that we have all of these abilities and talents. I remember when the allegations hit against Mr. Cosby, he said, Andrew, can you find me a Black attorney that I could drop $20 million into a law firm, and we build up a war chest, and anybody who cannot have the means and resources to fight these type of charges, they get a lawyer instantly with the war chest we built up. Wow. See, that's what Jay-Z, Sean Combs, and all of these guys should have been doing to Russell Simmons while they was building the hip hop empire. They should have been building the hip hop financial empire and building financial institutions where they can create a hierarchy of Black people who might not get to be recording artists, who might not get to be actors one day, who might work behind the scenes, but they get to move out and move up as well. So when we don't get to move out and move up, we become your worst nightmare. We become envious of you.
That's a fact. Yeah, I got just one more from me. How much of this is, these guys being, and you kind of already answered, but I want just the final question. How much of this is these guys really being creeps whatever people are saying they are, how much of this is them, being rich, affluent, wealthy black men. Because a lot of people think like, no, it ain't about the money. It ain't about this. They're really creeps and their karma's catching up to them. Or is it more so about, look, they got to a place where a lot of us didn't get to. We got to make an example out of them.
I think it's a little bit of both, because at the end of the day, nobody can stand a good investigation. None of us can. And all of us have a fetish. I don't care who you are. Nobody want the public or the world to know about their fetishes. Now, at the end of the day, these people excel to a level that no one has ever seen. The problem that they had and what they're doing is they're flaunted their success in the face of those people that work for them, the agents that don't look like them. And now their children idolize those personas that those agents and those managers and those publicists and those recording executives build. But now you're going to flaunt your success in front of me. You don't get to do that. Warren Buffett still lives in the same house that he got 40 years ago in Montana. He still drives the same Lincoln Continental. Elon Musk don't have a home. He sleeps on people's sofa. He touts the fact that, hey man, I don't have a home. And you don't see Elon Musk and them showing off his matching. You don't see them showing off Jeff Bezos matching, or see them flaunting with all the ice and jewelry and all the drapery on. They understand that, yes, conflict does create interest, and the interest that our type of conflict create is the interest on our bank account. And the interest that we have amongst the masses. See, I always said I never was a part of the classy. I was a part of the massy, because I got with regular people. When I saw a black person touting themselves and being better than me and saying that they was better than me and showing off and riding through with the car. But then when I went to their house and I opened up their refrigerator, all they had was an onion inside, and the onion was crying.
Right.
We have this tendency of where, as a race, we want to prove and show that I'm better than you. And when you see social media, everybody's posting up a bottle, they're posting up food, they're posting up a party. Because the best way to get us off of the mission is you give us a chicken and beer and some fried chicken and throw us a party, a block party. We forget that we're there to change laws. That's what happened with the Congressional Black Caucus. Congressional Black Caucus was black people who was political figures showing up, fighting for our rights and trying to change the laws to get us better fairness in this system that we call America. Well, then the sponsors got wind of it and said, let us sponsor it. Then they started throwing a party and a concert here and a party. And then now we're off topic. We're off the mission at hand. The mission at hand was not for us to come in and get a chicken and beer party. Everybody wants to talk about Donald Trump winning and Kamala Harris losing, and she had all of these black women support. Yeah, she had black women support, but what we did not see is black women who are on the upper echelon reach down and say, you know what? I'm going to go hang with poor black women. And those poor black women, that's where your votes came from. You already had the votes of the upper echelon and the middle class. You didn't have the votes of the poor. And you can't be Sean Combs and just say, I'm going to only show up on Thanksgiving and give a turkey out. But then I'm going to hold the rights to your publishing. That has retribution. And you have to grow up. See, when they see you not growing up, they don't want you to grow up. They don't want us to start adulting as black people, because when we start adulting and we start acting like adults, and we start acting civilized, that's where our power is. That's where we become dangerous. And that's when we take back our community and we take back our families.
Got one more question for you, and not outside of Jay-Z and the Diddy conversation, but you brought up something that had me thinking. I want to ask you about Candace Owens. She's a Black figure, whether people want to admit it or not. And she started off one way, but it seems though the last couple of months she's seeming to have this awakening. And one thing about her is she's aggressive, she's opinionated, and she's very articulate. What do you think about Candace Owens now? How's your thoughts, if it's ever changed? What is your overall thoughts on Candace Owens?
Well, I think Candace Owens is seeing it and waking up and realizing that she's a Black woman. You know, at the end of the day, society in America will remind you of your Blackness. You might have crossed over to the other side, and you might be married to this white guy who's affluent in the Republican Party. But at the end of the day, ain't nothing going to change about your Blackness. You're only a part of our elite club because of who you're married to. Would you be a part of this elite club if you wasn't married to this particular guy? Look at the actress who pro-Republican, and look at the young lady who came out. Can't think of her name. Who was dating Kanye, and she came out with a tattoo on her forehead at Trump rally.
Amber Rose.
Amber Rose. Okay, where are the Black jobs for Amber Rose? All right, Trump don't have you at Mar-a-Lago right now saying, hey, you know, I got Elon Musk and I got all, let's create an entertainment brand where we can make things better for your community. Where are they? Because they make you realize quickly that of your Blackness. Because that's one thing, you could bleach yourself and do whatever you want to do. It doesn't take away from you being Black. The genetics don't change. Candace Owens is brilliant. She's brilliantly smart. But she's having this epiphany now of saying, and I guarantee you, if we were in her inner circle, we would be a part of that epiphany, and we will see it in real time that you might be getting to have a seat at the table, and you might be getting the opportunity to taste what's on the plate at the table, but you're really not welcome to the table because they're not inviting you to the table at their private homes when they're selecting who they want to put up millions of dollars for to run for this seat. You don't have a seat at that particular table.
Right.
And reality, I think, sits in, man. It's the reality of the situation when you think about it, you know, because her rhetoric has to change because, you know, she's not straying too far. But at the end of the day, she's realizing who I am and that this system is really flawed. But at the end of the day, I will always keep saying it's not what they're doing to us, it's what we're not doing for ourselves. Is what we're not doing for our communities, what we're not taking our wealth and saying, you know what, let's join it together. This would have been an indelible moment to see all these iconic figures come together and say, you know what, let's put $100 million in some type of trust or some type of corporation. And we're going to make sure that we protect us, because protecting us protect the masses. And they didn't do that. So now you're fighting these, they're pitting us against each other. So now you got this slave who's been in the sweat box for in 100-degree heat for 5 days. So this slave now has been broken, and this slave wants to talk. Well, the other slaves saw what that happened in that slave in that sweat box. They were like, nah, I don't want to go in the sweat box, but I'm going to be vigilant. I'm going to just speak my piece. All right, well, you can speak your piece. Well, we're going to unload on you now in a different way. So they unload on that slave. So now you get every slave talking, and everybody's talking so much that it sounds like Charlie Brown. Want. You can't understand the Charlie Brown's teacher because everybody wants to talk now.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening. Everybody wants to talk now because doing time ain't fun. And I don't care who you talk to. People could glamorize it in rap songs, but people tell you, man, who's done time, it's not fun. Ain't nothing fun about doing time. Ain't nothing fun about somebody, treating a 50-year-old man like a child. Ain't nothing, there's no, you can't. I remember it was this correctional officer in the prison that Mr. Cosby was in. And since I was taking care of a lot of people, I was taking care of a lot of correctional officers. So to make sure he stayed safe. And that I had befriended. And he was at Chow Hall. And it was this female correction officer, who always loved harassing the men. And she came screaming. He was sitting at the table with his friends. And she said, "You're not supposed to be at this table." And he said, "Whoa, calm down and quit the barking." She said, "How dare you call me a bee?" All he did was say, "Quit the barking."
Right.
Well, this woman was known to put somebody in solitary confinement. She was known. And that's where they emasculate you. There's a young man who I'm helping now in that prison, been in there 38 years, Anthony Sutton. They call him Benny Doo. And I help get him attorneys working on his case pro bono. And right now, his son has been in there like 10 years with him. And I met him through Mr. Cosby, started the Man Up program. And Benny said, "Man, they emasculate you. They put you in solitary confinement. They strip you all your clothes. And you don't get to take a shower sometimes for 3 weeks."
Wow.
He said, and then when you do take a shower, you got females walking you to the shower and you got to undress and they're laughing at you and emasculating you.
Wow. Damn.
That's an experience, man, that you're taking a guy who's toured all over the world, who's been in every immaculate and elaborate place, flying on private jets, and you minimize them to the level of a roach or an ant. I could step on you at any time. So if you don't want to be a roach or ant, well, the next best thing for you to be is a rat.
Ooh. Damn.
Spitting bars right now.
Yeah.
Damn.
Whew. Man. Well, look, we definitely appreciate you as always, Andrew Wyatt from the Purpose PR firm. As always, if you want to let the people know where they can find you, social media handles, floor is open.
Yeah, at Andrew V. Wyatt. At Andrew V. Wyatt. You can find me Facebook, Instagram, Thread. You can find me on all those platforms. I try to post a lot of positive things, man. I don't post about my personal life. I post a lot of positive things about a good friend of mine, Keisha Potter, who used to play sax for Beyonce. I just posted that, and she was so excited. I went to Cuba with her for 10 days to headline the world's largest jazz festival in 2019, and got her off of touring to do a jazz album. And she toured with Robin Thicke, and Mr. Cosby bought her all her saxophones when she was in high school. And she's a phenomenal saxophonist, but she just got to do Tiny Desk with Doechii Cat. So last week. So I post those kind of things, man, and try to, just uplift us as a people to show our people. So I'm not looking for likes and clicks. I'm looking for enlightenment and education and just to empower who we are, man, because there's something so great about us, and it lets us know there's something so great about us. That's why the government is trying to destroy us.
Absolutely.
And until we realize our greatness, we're never going to stop the destruction of our iconic figures, because everybody has a past. If that's the case, then, we don't see them going after the Elton Johns of the world or the Aerosmiths of the world. We don't see them being prosecuted, and they were all about sex, drugs, and alcohol. Rock and roll was all of that. But we don't see those figures going down. We only see us because they have us, whether we're famous or we have no name and the world don't know us. They all have us on the plantation. And we know, if anything we know how to be great at, we know how to be great at turning on each other.
Man. You are important, Andrew Wyatt, and we definitely appreciate you.
Man, thank you so much, guys, man. Love you guys, your families, man. Happy holidays to you and all your viewers, man. Thank you.
Thank you once again.
Love you back, brother. Happy holidays.
All right, peace, man.
All right, peace, brother.